What up, Reader fam? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be playing Save One, Drop One Fictional Character Edition. I've done this in the past with books, and let me tell you, it was very difficult. It was difficult to pair books together and have them compete as to which one I'm going to save and which one I'm going to drop. And today might be even more difficult because there's something about fictional characters where they've just embedded themselves into my heart, and having to choose between saving one and dropping one is going to be very difficult, but we're going to do our best. Cheers to that. But before we get into the video, today's video has a sponsor. Today's video is being sponsored by Book of the Month. If you don't know anything about Book of the Month, let me fill you in. Book of the Month is a bookish subscription service. Each month their team curates a list of unique books for you to select from. It's a way to keep the books that are coming into your life fresh instead of reading the same genre or the same authors over and over again. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's nice to spice it up every now and then. The great thing about Book of the Month as well is that you can pick the book that you want as your Book of the Month, your Book of the Month pick, and then they have an add-on option if there's another book within their selection that you want to add on to your order. They also offer the chance to skip a month in case there are any books on their selections that you're not interested in, and you will not be charged. The holiday season is upon us, which I honestly don't want to think about. I have tons of shopping to do for the holiday season, but Book of the Month might be a solid option for the loved one within your family who is a reader, a book lover. I will leave a link down below in the description to learn more about Book of the Month, and you can use the code Jesse to get your first book for $9.99. We love a book bargain on this channel. Oh yes we do. The cheaper the book, the better. Now let's look over their October selections. First up, Harlem Shuffle. This takes place in the 1960s in Harlem and is full of heists, shakedowns, and rip-offs. Next, we've got the X-Hex, which honestly looks like the perfect book for October, just basing it on the cover alone. When Vivian hexes her ex after their messy breakup, she assumes that he's only gonna have a few days that are trouble. But it turns out that Vivian has created an even bigger mess than she expected, and her ex must figure out how to make things right. Next, we have The Perishing. This follows a girl who is immortal, and she must unlock her memory and her past in order to help save the world. Next, we have Everything We Didn't Say. This is a story of a mother who must face the past of a dark summer that changed her life, and she's given the chance to reclaim a relationship that she lost with her daughter. Then we've got The Book in the Box. What could it be? What could it be? And the book inside is heavy, holy guacamole, and it's The Lincoln Highway. This book takes place in 1950s America. We follow a guy who has just gotten out of jail and is looking to turn his life around. But when two of his friends from the work farm are found hidden in his car, they have different plans for him, and that plan is to go to New York. Book of the Month also sent over two of their add-on options for me to show you. The first one is The Book of Magic and Apples Never Fall. They also have an array of other books out there, but these are just two of the options that they sent to me. So if they have any books that you want to add on to your order, they make it really easy. Again, I will drop my link for Book of the Month down below in the description, and you can use the code Jesse to get your first book for $9.99. But now it's time to get dropping and saving. Also, I want you guys to play along with me, so in the comments as I'm going through each pairing, let me know which one you'd save and which one you'd drop. Without further ado, let's get started. Let's pick some characters. First up here, we've got Kaz Brecker. Oh, Mr. Kaz Brecker. The iconic Kaz Brecker comes from the Six of Crows duology. Do I need to give him an introduction? Probably not. Am I going to anyway? You betcha. Just in case some of you are not familiar with him. He's a leader at heart, he's cutthroat, and he's a bit cold. And by a bit, I mean a whole lot. Boy is cold as cold can be. I feel like he's the type that kind of just exudes main character energy. Like, he walks into a room and you're like, there's a main character. Which is a good thing considering he is a main character within this book. He's honestly the type of person that I would be intimidated by, but at the same time would want to be besties with. Even though he's kind of scary, and I would definitely be let down. Like, I'd be like, want to be besties, and he'd be like, get away from me right now before I slit your throat. And I'd be like, yes master, I'll be in the corner if you need me, if you want to be besties, but please don't slit the throat. No thanks. Next up, Frank Lee. Ooh, interesting pairing we've got going here. Frank Lee from Frankly in Love. Automatically gets points for his name being a pun in the title. What a weird pairing though. Frank and Kaz going head to head. I feel like Kaz Brecker would eat Frank Lee alive, just being honest. Frank is a smarty two shoes, he's filled with humor, and he surrounds himself with good peeps. He does everything he can to be the best son to his overly strict parents. Like, they are stricter than strict. Like, can y'all chill? And he finds himself in situations that are bound to lead him into drama territory. This is actually very difficult as to who I should drop and who I should save because they are on opposite playing fields. Like, if you were to put these two into the same room, I have no idea what their interactions would be. Like, honestly, they'd probably avoid each other because they're that different. But I don't know, at the same time, opposites do attract, so they could be besties. As much as I love Frank Lee, though, I have the softest of soft spots for Kaz Brekker, which I don't know why. Boy is ruthless. He is not soft at all. Like, I feel like Kaz Brekker would throw me off a bridge for fun. And yet here I am, gonna save Kaz Brekker and gonna drop Frank Lee. I'm sorry, Frankie boy, you just didn't make the cut. Next up, we've got Isabel Lightwood. Izzy, my queen. Isabel comes from the Mortal Instruments series. She's incredibly smart, brave, hardworking. We stan. Oh yes, we do. She might put up a cold front, but I feel like she's got a lot of heart. I also am a hardcore stan, so she's got confidence that I could only ever dream of having, and she's loyal to those who find themselves within her circle. She's literally one of my favorite characters from the Shadowhunter Chronicles in general. I mean, her and Simon are like pretty close there, but I feel like Izzy takes the cake. I feel like Simon is more so a character that I'm just exactly like, whereas Isabel, I'm just like, you are the best, slay, kill it, let's go. I feel sorry for whoever's going up against you, my friend. Let's see here. Whoa, okay, we're gonna go with this one that fell out. Prince Cardin. Ho 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 ho. Mr. Cruel Prince himself. Cardin comes from the Cruel Prince. In fact, he is the Cruel Prince. And this is not a fair competition at all because I still have yet to finish this trilogy, so I don't have a full understanding for Cardin. Maybe had I read book 2 and book 3, I would love Cardin. I would be standing Cardin, but unfortunately I have a bad taste in my mouth about Cardin. I know that there is a lot to his character. I know that he is a very layered character, and I know that even though he puts up this like really rough and cruel front, that there are more things to his character. But I only have the picture that this book painted of him. I'm sure that he goes through some development in books 2 and 3, but all I have is what this book gave me. And just like the title of the book, Cardin is cruel. He definitely gives off kid I would not want to mess with on the playground vibes. He's ruthless, he's full of pride, and he's just downright intimidating. Let's be real here. I would avoid him at all costs. See him in the hallway, I'm gonna be turning around and running in the opposite direction. See him reading my favorite book, I'm not talking to him about it. Nuh-uh. See him out in public, I will be immediately hiding. I will say that there are elements outside of his control that do play into him being the way that he is. But again, I still fully don't know his character, so this is not a fair competition. Also, Izzy took the crown the second her name was drawn. She's gonna be stealing your crown, Mr. Cruel Prince. Hand it over. You can see yourself out, Cardin. I'm dropping you and I'm saving Izzy. I feel like some of y'all are gonna be mad at me. But again, this is not a fair competition. Next round, this one. Triss from Divergent. What a throwback. 2014 Culloden wants you back. Ooh, there's actually some like dust on here. That's kind of embarrassing. I need to take better care of you apparently. I promise I keep my books in good condition. I was not aware that this was dusty. I'm sorry, Bookie Wookie. Triss is a selfless character that would give herself up for others in a heartbeat. She is willing to do what it takes to fight for justice. And with that obviously comes bravery. She is not afraid to stand up to people who she feels is doing wrong things, who can often be the hardest people to go up against. Speaking of going up against, who is Miss Triss gonna be going up against today? Let's find out. Warner from Shatter Me. Another throwback. Remember when we all thought Warner was a terrible person in book 1 of the Shatter Me series? And that Adam was this heavenly little angel? Oh, how the tables turned. Warner at first gives off villain vibes, but as the series progresses, we see him tear down these walls and show his true sides. He's been through a lot of trauma due to his parent situation. He's somebody who I feel like is very focused on his appearance. Like if there's a mirror in the room, you'll find Warner at that mirror looking at his reflection. Nothing wrong with that per se. And he also has leader instincts. Again, this is such a random pairing. It feels very 2014, and I don't really know who to save here. Like I'm leaning towards Triss, mostly because I honestly don't care that much for Warner. Like don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted. I think he's a fine character. Like he's not bad, he's not the worst. But when you have a series that has Kinji in it, all the other characters are overlooked, honestly. But also I feel like every time that Warner pops up, it has something to do with the romance, where it's like him and Juliet and their lovey-dovey situation, or him and Juliet and some drama situation. Whereas Triss definitely has a little bit of a romance situation in here, but I feel like she is very focused on solving the problem that is before her. With that being said, you can kind of... I mean, that just kind of played out how it was supposed to play out. I just did a dust check on the other 2 Divergent books, and they are not dusty, so I don't know where that dust came from on Divergent. It did kind of just give me anxiety, though. I was like, are my books dusty? No. For some reason, Divergent just was a little dusty. Next up, we've got ourselves Hazel Grace. Why did I put such old characters in here? I'll never know. Throwing it back to a classic. Hazel Grace comes from The Fault in Our Stars. I would say that Hazel is filled with confidence, but we also see a very fragile side of her throughout throughout this book. She's got a lot of strength, but we also see moments of vulnerability. I'd say that she's the kind of person that has like quick wit, and while her life isn't normal per se, she's looking to lead a normal life. Let's see who's going up against Hazel Grace. Sky from the Sky Blues. Sky goes through a lot throughout this book, and despite it all, he's able to hold himself up through everything. Though he has a great support system in the friends that surround him, there's a major lack of support from his blood-related family. Sky is the kind of person that is unapologetically himself, despite living in a very conservative small town. This is actually really hard because I love both of these characters. Like, both of these are very solid characters. Who do I save? Who do I drop? Drop. Can I just save both and I'll drop myself? That's the ideal situation here. I think I'm gonna have to drop Sky and save Hazel. Hazel is just such an iconic character at this point, and I love Sky. He has a lot of potential. There are things about his story that I felt like I wanted a little bit more from, so that's kind of why I'm leaning towards Hazel, where I felt like Hazel's story was more complete. I'm sorry, Sky. I'm sorry. I'm saving Hazel Grace. That's the situation here. I tried sacrificing myself, but I'm no Katniss Everdeen. Next up, Percy Jackson, another icon. I feel like this video is just making me very nostalgic, thinking about all these like older books. Percy is gonna be hard to beat. I'm sorry to whomever will go up against him. Percy is the kind of best friend that you want in your life. He's always there for you, he's a little bit wacky, and he's always up for adventure. Next up, well, that one just flung itself out, we'll go with it. Harper from A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I'm feeling bad for Harper already, because I think I already have my mind made up. But let me tell you a little bit about Harper. I'd say that Harper is a very resilient character. She's put through the motions of a situation where I feel like a lot of people would end up being like, no thanks. But she sticks it through and champs her way through it. And she also doesn't let other people walk all over her and decide her fate. With that being said, I am sorry, Harper. No matter who went up against Percy, he was going to be chosen. Unless it ended up being one of my peculiar bays. Then he would have had some competition. I'm saving Mr. Percy Jackson and I'm saying bye-bye to Harper. Come on, fall over. Girl, let's go. Fall. For real? She's putting up a fight. I said she was resilient. I didn't lie. There you go. Bye-bye, Harper. Next up, we've got Blue from the Raven Boys series. I don't know where my hardback of the Raven Boys went. That's concerning. Oh well, I'm sure I used it for something. We will just use the cover. Blue from the Raven Boys. Tell me you're not like all the other girls without telling me you're not like all the other girls. As much as I love Blue from the Raven Boys, I feel like she was just written in this way where it was like pushing for this like, I'm a unique little butterfly narrative. Regardless, Blue is intuitive. She's not afraid to stand up for herself, and she's filled with wit. Are you gonna stay standing? I hope so. Who is she gonna go up against? Let's find out. Cress from the Lunar Chronicles. I love Cress. She's incredibly tech savvy, has a bubbly personality, and is very hardworking. She's also a character that I feel like is not afraid to be isolated. Obviously, it's like not the best thing and not her favorite thing, I'm sure, but she does really well in like isolated situations. She was the best addition to the Lunar Chronicles series. You can't tell me otherwise. In my opinion, she saved this series from tanking. I said what I said. The tea has been spilled. I don't know how all those papers didn't just fall out right now. It's clear who I'm saving here. I'm saving Cress. I'm saying bye to Miss Blue. I'm sorry, Blue. You're unique, but not unique enough to be saved in this scenario. Also, I hope I find your book soon, because I don't know where I put it. Next round, we've got Princess Anthena. Ooh, I haven't talked about her in a long time. I feel like in general, I don't see a lot of people talking about this series on BookTube, and I feel like that is a missed opportunity because it's fantastic. But this character, I loved following her journey throughout the Stormcrow. She goes through a lot. I feel like it was the first time that I had really seen a character being written within a fantasy dealing with depression, and it was a great depiction of depression. I feel like our main character was not defined by that situation, and we also see her overcome all these different obstacles as she continues to fight for herself. While she might not be a natural born leader, she steps up to the plate when she needs to. She's an all-around solid character, and I need to finish the series. And she's gonna go up against Adam from the List of Cages. What another random pairing. Adam is a reliable friend, to say the least. Like, boy is there for you through thick and thin. He pretty much does everything he can to protect those he's closest to. He has a situation that could hold him back, but he refuses to let it hold him back. He has a kind-hearted soul and needs to be protected at all costs. I say that, but now I'm not sure who I'm going to protect here in this situation. Like, I don't know who I'm going to drop, I don't know who I'm going to save, because I love both of these characters' journeys. They are very different journeys, but I love both of their journeys, and I love seeing where they end up by the end of it. Guys, who do I pick? You know what? This has to be an eeny, meeny, miny, mo situation, because I've been put in a situation that I don't want to be a part of. I would like to be written out of this narrative, so eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by his toe. If he hollers, make him pay $50 every day. My mom told me that you are the very best one, and you are it. That means I'm saving Princess Anthena and saying goodbye to Adam. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. Fate had its hand in this situation. Maybe not fate, but eeny, meeny, miny, mo did. Next up, Divya from Don't Read the Comments. Divya is a strong-willed character. She's a full-on gamer and popular streamer. She's put through situations that would leave most people wanting to leave the internet forever. But she prevails and works through the situation, and in the end, fights for justice. Despite despite all the harassment that she receives online. Divya is going to be going up against Ever from the Love Boat Taipei. Oh, listen, my girl Ever is messy. Messier than messy. If you looked up messy in the dictionary, you would find Ever. The amount of questionable decisions that she makes throughout this book had me shaking my head as I read it, but it caused a lot of spicy drama to occur, so you know I kept reading. Love me some spicy drama. And yet at the same time, I'd fight for her. I'd go to war for her because I understand her. And I understand her rebelliousness, I guess you could say. Ever has spent her whole life being non-stop criticized by her parents and having pretty much her every move controlled. So of course at some point she's gonna hit the wall and be like, "Boom-ba-ya," and collide into chaos. It's just bound to happen. And her journey throughout this book is evidence of that. With that being said though, as much as I would fight for Ever, I'm gonna have to go for Divya. I'm gonna have to save Divya. Like, as much as I would fight for Ever, I'd probably fight harder for Divya in her situation. I'm sorry, Ever. I'm sorry. Whoa, that almost flew off the table. I'm dropping ya. I'm saving Divya. You know, I keep like talking to these characters as if they care, but newsflash, Jesse, they don't exist. They're not real. They're real to me though. Next up, Kale Westfall. Oh boy. The most misunderstood character from the Throne of Glass series. The way I have fought for him for years, and so many of y'all despise him, it's hard being a Kale stan, let me tell you. The amount of slander we have to go through, the amount of lies we have to go through, the amount of judgment we have to face on the daily, it's really tough out here. Kale does come off as a cold character, I will admit that. But deep down, he's got a lot of heart, and you can't deny that. That's one of the most important things to have as a character, is heart. He's a fighter and he's got leader instincts. Let's see who's going up against our Kale. Oh no. No, this is gonna be too hard. He's going up against Nikolai from the Grishaverse. It just had to be Nikolai, didn't it? It couldn't have been a character that would have been easy to choose Kale over. Nikolai is one of my favorite characters from the Grishaverse. This really isn't fair. I'm putting two of my favorite characters up against each other. I want a refund, a redraw. I would like to withdraw from this narrative. Nikolai is a respectable character with leader instincts. He's a very personable character, and if you were at a party and he was there, he'd be the person that you would want to be with all night. And he's also the kind of person that, like, when he walks into a room, he commands it. This is so hard because in a lot of ways they are so similar, but also just so very different. And the fact that Kale is like the person that you would probably avoid at a party, and Nikolai is the person that you want to like hang out with all night. Okay. I'm sorry, bestie. I'm gonna have to let you down. I've fought for you for years, and I'm gonna drop you right here and now, and we're gonna go with Nikolai. I'm being so dramatic too in this situation. Again, Jesse, they're not real. They don't know what's happening. And yet, deep down in my heart, I'm like, I'm letting them down. I'm letting them down. Notice how I just pick him right back up, even though I just dropped him. I'm saving you both. Nobody can stop me. I am in control of this game. Alright guys, that's it for Save One, Drop One Fictional Character Edition. I hope that you enjoyed it. Again, let me know down below in the comments your results. Which characters did you save and which characters did you drop? Again, thank you to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video. You can get your first book for $9.99 using the code Jesse, and if you click my link down below in the description, it really helps me a lot, and I appreciate it. So thanks guys so much. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon, and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright, that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye-yo! So if they have any books that they... We've got Blue from the...